The Ottoman Empire was the most successful empire in history due to their religious diversity, powerful military, and centralized government.
The Ottoman Empire.
I could get used to this. You know what? This is what I want our empire to be about.
The year is 1299. The 14th century is rapidly approaching. After assuming leadership of his father's Ghazi tribe 11 years prior, Osman I formed an independent state, cutting ties from the Mongol Empire. Osman rapidly began to acquire land, including Yenishir, in which he built a capital city for the Ottoman state. Most of this land, however, had been rural, belonging to primarily nomadic peoples. This all changed when the troops of Bursa surrendered, and Osman seized control of Bursa itself, a large commercial city that consequently opened his new state up to the rest of the world. Shortly after his momentous conquest, Osman died due to age and worsening illness. He handed the state down to his son Orhan, leaving him with his final advice.
My son, I am dying, and I die without regret, because I leave such a successor as thou art. Be just, love goodness, and show mercy. Give equal protection to all thy subjects, and extend the law of the prophet. Such are the duties of princess upon earth, and it is thus that they bring on them the blessings of heaven.
Osman requested to be buried in Bursa, as it was to become the new capital city where his son was to rule as the next sultan.
Wait, what's a sultan?
The Ottoman Empire was ruled by a sultan. He was the head of the state and head of the government, and his words were the law. Additionally, he was a political, military, judicial, social, and religious leader. He was responsible only to Allah and his law.
The term sultan or sultanate derived from the Arabic term of strength and authority. All the sultans of the Ottoman Empire were members of the House of Osman and ruled from 1299 to his inevitable demise in 1922. The way the power is passed down was hereditary, and the sultan was always male. Out of the lengthy and detailed history of the Ottoman Empire, 36 sultans ruled over the dynasty, some of which include Osman I, Mehmed the Conqueror, and Suleiman the Magnificent. Occasionally, there were long and bloody civil wars against brothers fighting for the throne, leading to new reforms in the government.
Before the reforms of the 19th and 20th centuries, the state organization of the Ottoman Empire was a system with two main dimensions, the military administration and the civil administration. The Sultan was the highest position in the system. The civil system was built on local administrative units based on the region's characteristics. The state had control over the clergy. Certain pre-Islamic Turkish traditions remained important in Ottoman administrative circles. According to Ottoman understanding, the state's primary responsibility was to defend and extend the land of the Muslims and to ensure security and harmony within its borders in the Islamic practice. The Ottoman Empire, or as a dynastic institution, the House of Osman, was unprecedented in the Islamic world for its size and duration. The Ottoman dynasty was Turkish in origin. There were only 2 attempts in Ottoman history to unseat the ruling Ottoman dynasty, both of which were failures. This suggests their political system was able to manage its revolutions without instability. As such, the last Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed VI, was a direct descendant of the first Ottoman Sultan, Osman I. In the early start of the empire, the sultanate was inherited from father to son. Fratricide, the act of killing one's brother, has been very prevalent throughout history as siblings killed each other to gain power or obtain higher leadership ranks. The policy of judicial royal fratricide was introduced into the Ottoman Empire by Sultan Mehmed II. Mehmed introduced this policy in order to avoid civil war, as his grandfather Mehmed I had to fight in a long and bloody civil war against his brothers to take the throne, which nearly destroyed the empire. When a new sultan was crowned, all of his brothers would be imprisoned and killed, and once he procured his first male heir, all of his brothers would be strangled to death with a silk rope.
2 bros chillin' in a throne room, 5 feet apart 'cause they're not friendly.
In 1617, the law of succession changed from survival of the fittest to a system based on agnatic seniority, whereby the throne went to the eldest male of the family. This explains why from the 17th century, the deceased sultan was rarely succeeded by his own son, but by an uncle or brother. Despite unsuccessful attempts to replace the system with hereditary succession, agnatic seniority was retained until the abolition of the Sultanate.
I'm Brother Osman, president of the Sultan Frat.
I'm Brother Mehmed.
I'm Brother Silliman.
And I'm Brother Orhan.
Welcome to the Alpha Beta Omega Phi Kappa Sigma Delta Theta Delta Gamma Phi Trista Grande Vente Frat, also known as the Sultan Frat. Oh, initiation includes killing your own brother. Choose your weapon. Brother, choose your headwear. Good choice, brother. Our amenities include
Basketball court.
Playground.
the best tutors on campus.
What's 9 plus 10?
21! And a gym. So rush our frat today.
Throughout the Ottoman Empire, there were a variety of languages spoken due to the multitude of countries that were conquered. Minorities were allowed to use their language amongst their groups, but when they wished to communicate with the government, they had to use Ottoman Turkish. The three main languages of the Ottoman Empire were Turkish, Persian, and Arabic.
Only about 2 to 3% of the public were literate until the early 19th century, and around 15% at the end of the 19th century, so the wealthy would hire request writers in order to speak with the government. In the last 2 centuries of the Ottoman Empire, English and French became popular languages.
The classic army of the empire helped the Ottomans rise to power. Their main military was made up of cavalrymen who were free-born men. Within the powerful militia were the Janissaries. The Janissary recruits were boys of Devshirme. The Devshirme practice began with Sultan Murad I around 1380. For all the Christian territories the empire conquered, they took young, healthy Christian boys as human tax. These boys were brought to Istanbul, converted to Islam, despite Islamic prohibitions against the forcible conversion of Christians, and then trained for military service. The organization became an important force soon after it was established because the Janissaries were perceived to be the Sultan's most trustworthy soldiers as well as disciplined troops with specialty skills in firearms. Unlike typical slaves, they were paid regular salaries. There were approximately 20,000 Janissary men in the late 16th century and over 100,000 by the early 19th century. The Janissaries made significant contributions to many important Ottoman victories, among them the conquest of Constantinople in 1453. These encounters fueled European perceptions of the Janissary elite as some kind of secret weapon because they were able to use firearms more effectively than any other opponents. However, the Janissaries had a fearsome reputation, creating unrest. During the so-called auspicious event in 1826, Sultan Mahmud II carried out a secret plan to surround the Janissary barracks with artillery and kill everyone inside, ending the era of the Devshirme method and Janissaries. The Byzantine Wars were battles and conflicts between the Ottomans and Byzantines, ranging from 1299 to 1453. These conflicts played a key factor in the decline of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottoman Empire.
Prepare to die.
The conflicts increased as the Ottoman Empire began to expand more into the Balkans and Central Europe, along with the European Christian Crusades and wars occurring against the expanding Islamic Empire. Mehmed II, also known as Mehmed the Conqueror, was one of the most famous sultans of the Ottoman Empire. He is most well known for orchestrating the fall of Constantinople at the young age of 21. At just the age of 14, his father left the throne and he rose to power. However, the King of Hungary, the Pope, the Byzantine Empire, and Venice were all eager to take advantage of the accession of a child to the Ottoman throne and ended up succeeding in organizing a crusade. Mehmed became engrossed with the idea of overthrowing the Byzantine Empire in Constantinople. However, the Byzantines and Europeans underestimated him due to his age, as well as his experience in the Ottoman Empire.
And then the Roman was like,
Mehmed can't do it, he's just bluffing, bro.
and then Mehmed said,
I think I'm gonna do it. Just wait.
He soon proved his haters wrong, as he punished the Janissaries who attempted to revolt against him.
Those Ottomans don't stand a chance against us Romans. We have God on our side, therefore we will win. The Byzantine Empire cannot and will not be conquered.
Sorry, put this note clear.
After the capture of Constantinople, now referred to as Istanbul, he worked to make it a worthy capital of a worldwide empire.
50 years later, Constantinople had become the largest city in Europe. Mehmed also had a plethora of successful and expanding military conquests. The conqueror reorganized the Ottoman government and, for the first time, along with criminal law and laws relating to his subjects in one code. In the autocratic personality of the conqueror, the classical image of the Ottoman Empire was born. He punished with severity those who resisted his decrees and laws. Nevertheless, Mehmed may be considered the most broad-minded and free-thinking of the Ottoman sultans.
The Ottoman Empire reached its peak between 1520 and 1566, during the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent. Suleiman was the only son of his father, Selim I. Suleiman became Sultan of the Ottoman Empire in 1520. He campaigned against the Christian powers in Central Europe and the Mediterranean. Suleiman's reign was marked by great peace, power, stability, and wealth, after uniting the lands of Eastern Europe and the Eastern Mediterranean. Suleiman created a uniform system of law and welcomed different forms of art and literature. Throughout Suleiman's rule, the empire expanded and included areas of Eastern Europe. At its height, the Ottoman Empire included the following regions:
Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, Egypt, Hungary, Macedonia, Romania, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, some of Arabia, and a considerable amount of the North African coastal strip.
After ruling for 46 years, the end of Suleiman's reign is often described as a turning point in Ottoman history.
Come on down to the Ottoman Empire to shop our 40% off sale. That's right, 40% off our most high-quality Ottomans so you can relax as luxuriously as a sultan. We have the Osman Ottoman, the Suleiman Ottoman, the Mehmed Ottoman, and many more sultan-worthy Ottomans, ranging from 50 to 250 gold coins. What a steal!
So come on down today to the Ottoman Empire Furniture Store.
There were many wars fought against the Ottomans in Europe ranging from the late Middle Ages to the earlier 20th century. The Great Turkish War started in 1683 and ended in 1699 with the Treaty of Karlowitz. Europe began to strengthen due to the Renaissance and therefore caused the Ottoman Empire to lose economic and military dominance. Other factors such as poor leadership and having to compete with the trade from the Americas and India led to the weakening of the empire. The Ottomans were defeated at the Battle of Vienna in 1683, adding to their already decreasing status. The empire began to lose regions of land over the next 100 years.
Let's take a closer look at the Battle of Vienna, a decisive moment in Ottoman history. It all began in 1529, when Suleiman launched a campaign of 100,000 men against the Austrian Archduke Ferdinand I. By the time the Ottomans reached Vienna, the capital of the Austrian Empire, Habsburg, the Ottomans had already been weakened by the harsh weather conditions and spread of illness. Additionally, much of their artillery had been abandoned when it became stuck in the mud along the journey, and the gunpowder was rendered useless when dampened by the rain. The Austrians forced back the Ottoman attackers to the back walls of the city using long pikes. This venture, needless to say, was not successful for the Ottomans, marking the end of the Turkish expansion in Europe and claiming the lives of over 16,000 Ottoman warriors. In a sense, the battle initiated the beginning of the end for the once prosperous Ottomans.
Unfortunately, even an empire as long-standing, culturally rich, and formidable as the Ottomans must eventually reach its demise. After over 600 years of prosperity, the Ottomans fell in the year of 1922. However, this was no sudden change, as the empire had been undergoing a gradual weakening since the 1600s, due to the success of competing European countries during the Renaissance and early Industrial Revolution. After the Battle of Vienna, the empire continued to lose land, especially when many of the countries gained independence. During the Balkan Wars of 1912 and 1913, the Ottomans lost almost all of their European territories. The combined impact of these events set the stage for the final blow to the Ottoman Empire, World War I. The Ottoman Turks sided with the Central Powers and were defeated in 1918. The empire was then divided up between Britain, France, Greece, and Russia. The official end of the empire occurred in 1922 when the title of Sultan was eliminated and Turkey was declared a republic. The Ottoman Empire, although now collapsed for almost a century, throughout its lengthy and prosperous rule impacted and shaped the world as we know it today, through its religious diversity, powerful military, and centralized government.
Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople, been a long time gone. Constantinople, now it's Turkish delight on a moonlit night. Every gal in Constantinople lives in Istanbul, not Constantinople. So if you've a date in Constantinople, she'll be
A few moments later.
What is this about the Turks? Istanbul. 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 Even.
No, the Indian clothes are gonna get wet.
Yeah, I have to watch.
Get off the deathbed, Toby. Oh.
Hi guys, my name is Christopher. I'm a young Christian boy and I like LaCroix. Hey, it rhymed.
Young Christian boy.
You. Oh, we're filming right now? Yay!
Sorry, chick is not correct.
Playground.